Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Grab a cold one, crank up the volume, and join the show. Welcome to NBNR Live. And here we go.
It's no block, no rock. Go big red indeed. No block, no rock. Episode 216.
Yes.
Coming at you from the NBNR studio. Seeing as Nebraska Brewing Company is our main sponsor. If I was drinking a beer, which I'm not right now, because I forgot to get one.
You want one?
I might run and get one while you guys do your spiel. But the one that I would be drinking is that new coffee stout you guys got.
Yeah.
You're welcome. An NBNR creation.
Oh,
That's
look
right.
at this. Hold on. You have a team player over here. The cameras can't see this right
Jacob,
now.
do you want a beer while he's up?
I'd love one.
Okay.
I'd love one.
What kind do you want? I mean, we got a Hefeweizen. We got a pill.
Yeah.
Do you have like a certain style that you like?
No, I'm all over the place.
Okay, get him an
yeah,
EOS.
Yeah, I'll take.
Or do you like
Hefeweizen.
pickles? Do you like pickles?
Okay, I draw the line at pickles.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
do, I'll
okay.
do
Get Jared-
anything else.
Get Jared a pickle fight.
All right.
No, Jared was just talking about.
I want to. It's gone though. I
Jared-
had the last one.
You have the
Oh,
last
no.
Yes.
one.
Oh,
All right,
Yeah.
then. Well, look, it's okay, Mike. I forgive you
No, I don't. I
for
put this-
drinking 11 a.m. kickoff coffee stout. I mean,
I put this beer in the butter dispenser so that you guys wouldn't find it.
you're a
Mike got
fucking.
here. Mike always gets here earlier
Dude.
than any of us.
You know
And
what? I'm gonna say it. What a fucking scumbag. That's a scumbag move. Okay, hey, pickle fight though. I'm not complaining. Pickle fight's good.
Yeah.
Pickle is good, Jacob.
Pickle is good. If
Right?
you're into that sort of thing,
I
I
am.
don't shame if you're
Oh,
into that sort of thing.
Well, I appreciate it.
We're a
I
very
don't want to be
welcoming
shamed.
show.
I'm very sensitive.
Shame.
Speaking of fucking shame, fucking Mike, go.
I'm
do you got?
drinking Stories from Nebraska Coffee Stout.
Must be nice.
It's a limited edition beer. It's really good, and there was one left in the fridge, so I decided it was in my best interest. And I asked Kyle. I said, "Kyle, should I drink the last one?"
Don't bring me into
Kyle!
your problems.
And you said yes. And
you're
I
not.
said,
You're
and I
just
said-
like you're just as bad as he is.
and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna put it in the butter dispenser." So I did.
Do you
I put
guys-
it in the butter dispenser in our fridge, and then once the episode was about to start, I grabbed it. So
You know what Kyle is? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Yeah, you're fine.
Kyle's the guy who says, "I was just following orders."
He is an accomplice.
Have some principles.
So here's what's crazy to me is around, I think it was like 4:15, Mike texted us that he was already in the studio. Do you know where I was at 4:15?
not here.
At Nebraska Brewing Company, where I could have brought more.
I didn't know that until Kyle had shown up, and I probably could have told you to grab more, but I
Yeah.
forgot. So
You just wanted to keep it away from Jared.
yeah,
That's what it was.
it's fine.
Connor, go.
Yeah, I am drinking the Pilsner, and I have good news for Pilsner drinkers. I've had a couple of people actually over the last week come into the brewery because they listen to MBNR. Thank you guys. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. Thank you for supporting us. But the good news is for the people that are coming in to try the beers that we're drinking is Pilsner is back on Wednesday. You will be able to find kegs, cans, whatever you want. It is back. We had a week long.
It was gone for a week,
Yeah, it was a week long. Do you know how long that week was for me?
probably a week.
Yeah, it felt like a year.
There's
Oh,
nobody
my.
more excited than you are for that.
Yes,
Probably.
There's a couple.
They can't make any money on that beer because you drink it for free
Yeah.
90% of the time.
I actually had this discussion today. I am not a large portion, but I am certainly accountable. Kyle Byers, what do you
Kyle!
drink?
What do you got?
Drinking the
Oh, crisp.
EOS Hefeweizen. It's the go-to every single week. If I don't have a Stories from Nebraska coffee stout,
Mhm.
EOS Hefeweizen is the way to go for me.
Okay.
And special guest.
Jacob Bigelow, he is a contributor for Huskers Illustrated, writing about basketball. He's a basketball sicko. You are. What are you drinking?
I got the EOS Hefeweizen too. Compliments of Kyle for snagging that. But Yeah, I'm happy to have a beer, and I'm happy to be here, guys. Appreciate you having me. I sense some tension in this locker room.
Oh, it's great.
We're hiding beers from everybody. I don't know. I sense a little bit of tension, but
that's okay. That's just me and
yeah.
Connor's. Our relationship it goes back like
20 years.
almost 25 years probably.
Yeah.
So it's just anything I can do to get under their skin, I try. So
Yeah.
I admire that.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes,
No.
our past few episodes have been disasters because it's really awkward with these guys going through their shit and they just haven't worked it out.
yeah, right.
It's like it just makes everything, there's like a tension. You can cut it with the knife and all that shit.
See, funny enough,
And
that sounds like Nebraska basketball when they were in the 6-game losing streak.
Yeah.
There it was.
That sounds like you gotta, have a, you gotta let something, you gotta let your feelings out a little bit and flip a switch,
And then
get
it
off-
works.
and get off the schneid here.
Well, there was a reason why I said 6 episodes. I was very specific about the 6. Okay, do we want to jump right in?
Yeah.
I
to
think
Nebraska,
I think we
or-
jump right in.
There was a big game yesterday.
I think we
do we what?
I think we start with Nebraska ball.
Okay.
Get that out of the way,
All right,
and then we
yeah.
can go into like what happened yesterday.
Before we do
Okay.
that, I did get a letter in the mail, and it said on there, it said Connor and Sam, and I was like, who the fuck is Connor and Sam?
What are you?
And then I was like, oh, duh,
Jesus,
it's
man.
Connor.
We have known each other for most of our lives.
I thought you were gonna. As we were talking about our lovely relationship, I was like, I literally went to the mailbox and I was like, who the fuck is Connor and Sam? Is it a thank you note? Did I do something for somebody named Connor and Sam?
It's a thank you for being my friend for the last 25 years. You
Welcome to my
asshole.
wedding. Yes.
Yeah.
It was an invitation for his wedding. Yeah, I had no idea.
Wow, I'm glad you guys got invited.
Wait, have you not got yours yet?
Ooh.
No, I got mine.
Okay, anyways, go to Nebraska ball. I just thought I'd put
No,
a little
listen.
cherry on top.
It's February.
Yeah, I saw that.
February. Hey guys, maybe this is a hot take or something, but can it just be Black History Month every month? Can we do that?
Can they wear those jerseys? Like any Black History Month jersey they want to have? Because they always win in them. I mean,
Well, look,
Let's be honest.
Jacob, what?
No.
What?
Nope.
I'm
Why do
with
you-
you. I'm with you. They're like 9-2 or something. I saw the stat of like in the last couple of years with the Black History Month jerseys, and
That's all I'm saying.
yeah, no, I agree.
I'm
Black
glad
History
that you went for the jersey thing because I didn't want to be like, oh, are you against Black History? Month?
No,
But you were very clear that this is jersey based.
I gotta walk this line very
Yeah.
carefully. Jerseys 9-2. Let's go.
But jerseys 9-2.
We've had this discussion, I think, for the last 2 weeks.
Mm.
The jerseys suck, though, right?
I don't like them. No.
Yeah, they
and
suck.
The women's team's wearing their version of them in about an hour against Iowa. They announced that today. So, and then it's not just Nebraska. Like it's in all the Adidas schools. There's going to be a Miami version with just the U right here. There's going to be a Louisville version with the basketball cardinal. Like, it's not just Nebraska. It's Adidas across the board. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I think that basketball game yesterday was too ugly ass basketball jerseys at Pinnacle Bank Arena with Nebraska wearing what they had on and then Ohio State wearing black. So
that was just
was
hard to
not
look
was
at.
not
Yeah.
easy on all 4 of my eyes by any stretch. It was not easy. It was tough to look at. So
You wish you weren't wearing glasses.
yeah, no, I wish I had lost them or I wish I forget who the girl on Scooby Doo is who loses her glasses.
Velma.
Yeah, if I had like Velma myself at
Jinkies,
Pinnacle
right?
Bank Arena, like where'd my glasses go? Like I wouldn't have been opposed. Wouldn't have been opposed to it.
Well, I'm glad we weren't saying jinkies yesterday. Nebraska had beat Ohio State for the 4th straight freaking dub.
Let's go.
And, last week we were talking about dead cat bounce. Connor's going into this whole stock market thing.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny about that?
Get after it.
God, here we
In
go.
addition to my coffee thing,
Oh,
I brought props. I gave myself roses
You-
because
that doesn't count. You can't give yourself a rose.
sure I can. I did.
he's giving himself a rose right now.
Yeah, I gave myself a rose because when Connor said this team's not going to make the tournament, I said they probably will.
We both talked about before the episode that is not what I said.
I brought props though.
I had questions.
He has a fucking
hey.
rose just sitting there. How long is that?
I actually walked to the studio getting here early. went over and talked to the chiropractic people here, Kinetic Chiropractic. Make sure you guys go check them out. Went in there and they're like, hey, get a rose. Give it to Jared. And I was like, no, I'm going to give it to myself.
Next thing you know, he's gonna reach behind his chair and pull out a knife. He's like, "We're gonna cut these defenses apart."
Jeez.
Like,
all right, go back to Dead Dog Alley.
Yes.
Dead cat.
Yeah. Fuck
dead cat bounce.
Yeah, Dead Dog Alley,
Yeah.
baby. Protect Pinnacle Bank Alley. And they did it. So there's like questions going around, and maybe Connor, I don't know if you've changed your mind, but Jacob, I want to throw it over to you.
Mhm.
Who is the real Nebraska ball? Is it the 6-game losing streakers, or is it this current iteration that we're seeing now?
It's more similar to the current iteration. I mean, that's what I've been trying to tell people like over this winning streak is like nothing they're doing is new. Like it's not like
It's the
they
same.
have this new like they didn't go on a cleanse. They didn't new year, new me themselves. Like it's the same thing that it was winning them games in November and in December, when they went out to Hawaii, when they won up here. I mean, they're doing the same stuff, and it's all about their energy and their effort and all the coaching cliches that I could clearly lay out if I wanted to. But I mean, they're just they're back to their recipe for success that got them. They won 12 of their first 14, and it's a similar blueprint for sure right now.
Yeah, it's what we're seeing now is when you go back to last year as well, there's just a bigger sample size of this kind of ball than the shitty iteration that we were seeing for the 6 games.
Right.
So that's why it seems a little more real, this version of the team.
Well, and it's still the same thing. When this team loses, it's usually because the teams that are they just don't miss from 3. I mean, really, like anytime Nebraska has lost or been dominated in the last 2 years, it's generally because the team is lights out from the 3-point line. And some of it's effort. I think some of it's schematics and coaching. But I feel like most of it has to be effort.
Yeah, I mean, and think about think about just the difference in like the end of games. Think about like the USC game and that Rutgers game in Lincoln, where they just got out toughed like at the end of the game, and they Rutgers and USC got the rebounds they needed to get. They were the team. They were scrapping. They were doing all that stuff, and Nebraska was just kind of hanging their heads. And they and compare that to yesterday, where they needed to slam the door, and Raleigh Worcester hits a late 3, and
Sure,
why
Fine.
not? And
I'll take it.
and Bryce Williams, I was banging the drum for him to be a first team all league guy before the season, and during that losing streak, I was just like, oh damn it, like I went to bat. I was a pretty vocal. Bryce Williams needs to be an all league guy, and he's back to putting up those kind of numbers then for sure. And I think he started off with like 11 on I think like 6 shots to start. I forget what he finished with, but double I think it was 24 and 10 if I remember right. I mean this team, they're gonna go as Bryce goes and Juwan Gary goes, but when you have 2 6th-year guys, those are the guys that they took to Big Ten Media Day, and they were talking back in October, and they were talking about the legacies that they wanted to leave, at Nebraska, and wanting to make history and all that stuff. And when they're putting in the effort that they have been, and they've got it turned up to 11, intensity wise, they're on the track to doing that.
The word that you said that really just rings to me is toughness. Okay, and I'm watching the game yesterday, and I see Andrew Morgan get on the floor, and we get possession of the ball, and then he literally dunks it like in that same sequence. And I'm like, okay, I don't think that happens a few games ago. And then I think back to the Washington game where, dude, Washington, did they start like 8 for 8?
It was 8 for 8.
Yes.
Like
From 3.
And we thought, oh my God, here we go. A road debacle, a fucking Holocaust on the road.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't care. But come
like
on,
that.
what we've seen, like I thought it was going to be just another one of these games where they can't miss.
Right.
The Huskies can't miss. Eventually they did. But like for every run that the other team goes on, they answer back. Like these past 4 games, they would be up by 5 and then they'd get down by like 9. But then they would crawl back. They start answering back, where it felt like before it was just a snowball effect. So like yesterday, Nebraska is up by quite a bit. They get down by 9. But as the game gets flowing, it's like you had Juwan going to the basket, and then you had Bryce scoring. Andrew Moore, I mean, look, I'm not going to say Andrew Morgan is my favorite player because of his aesthetic, just his look. It's like he's like me. You like me for real, kind of. He's got the mullet and all that shit.
He's also athletic, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not entirely.
And
like
he's
you.
tall and stuff. But just speaking of toughness, like they answer back and they just never feel out of it. Like the team will go on a run, but you just have this kind of faith that it's okay. Juwan's going to go to the basket and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
It's been what, 2 or 3 seasons now where the main criticism we've had for this team was what? Mental toughness.
Yes.
And just like the lack of energy.
And so
It
like
seemed like
we did see a stretch of that. But I think the Washington game is the one that like I'm a little brighter. I know Mike mentioned last week, which by the way, my numbers were fair. We had like a 51 or 52% chance to make March.
And you're the gambler, dude. Like,
yeah.
I was the one gambling there, right?
I was reading the numbers.
Right.
I was reading the numbers. But seeing them deal with some adversity in that Washington game and come back gives me a little bit more faith in this team. Not necessarily because I think they're going to go out and like win the Big Ten tournament or anything, but because I do genuinely believe that when this team is clicking, there's not really any game that they can be outside of crazy circumstances, like being down 20 or 25, something like that. I think they do have that in them to continue to fight back.
Yeah. I think Washington's a perfect example. Like on the road, late game, like really freaking late. Could be a sleepy environment. And they just stayed the course. Like even when Washington was shooting well and couldn't miss, Nebraska was playing really well on offense.
Yeah,
Like,
they
that
were
was the
making
thing
stuff too.
They were making everything too. The problem was that Nebraska was making a lot of stuff inside, and Washington just they couldn't miss from 3.
Yeah, I mean, Washington came into that game averaging like 6 threes a game. They had 8.
Of course.
They had 8 in the first half, and
So
it just
annoying.
feels like it's every, whenever, it's like, oh, this team's having the best game of their season, and it's against this Nebraska defense. Like here we are again. But I mean, I agree. They were shooting like 50% at halftime. Nebraska was, and they were down at the half, and it's just like, well, like something's got to give. Is the team that is already above their made average from 3 going to keep making these threes, or is Nebraska going to be like, we're a team of dudes who have played enough college basketball where we probably are collecting 401ks, like we're old vets, like we just gotta stay the course, and they did. So
Yeah. Like, especially Ohio State. Like Ohio State, back to what you were saying, Jared, about like they'd give a little and then get a little, give a little, get a little. With again, so I said Kyle and I were in the building. I just never felt like, even with the environment, the atmosphere, like I just never felt like we were going to lose the game.
Yeah.
Like, even when Ohio State went up 9 or whatever, it was just like, no, I don't buy it.
And another thing too that I'm really encouraged by, the first couple of years of Fred's tenure, this team was absolutely abysmal from the free throw line. Like they couldn't buy a free throw. But it just seems like in these past couple of years, when the game's on the line and the other team's fouling and all that, these guys step up and they make their free throws. And I don't know. I don't know if it's coaching.
Mia was making free throws
That was
yesterday.
sick.
Yeah.
4 for 4. 3 for 3, right?
I thought he was 4 for 4.
3 for 3.
3 for
3 for 3.
Yes.
And then you got Connor Esigian that goes up and then misses it. Sure, why not?
Yes. And Jawan missed it. Like,
He was 4 for 6, but he made his down the stretch.
yes.
And like we're seeing that whenever this team wins, they're making their free throws. And it's such a simple thing. But I just beg people to not take that for granted. Because we did for those first couple of years.
My question, and I know I've harped on this for a number of weeks now, I feel like, is the impact of the transfer portal on college basketball teams. And I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, talked about how this Nebraska team wasn't necessarily set up for success, having these older guys come in through the portal, because it's harder to mesh personalities that way. But it looks like we had that 6-game stretch, and it looks like things are starting to kind of get figured out. Is this something you've seen with other teams? Are you seeing this positive movement with the transfer players for Nebraska?
yeah, I mean, it's becomes like, at a point when you've got so many guys, and this is just my, like, I'm not a basketball coach. I just wanted to be one at one point in my life. Like at this point in the year, like you're coming down the stretch and like you got guys who are at the end of the road with their college career, and it's just like, it's for lack of a better word, like, I'm not here to fuck around. Like, I'm here,
right.
like, if this is how I'm going out, like, I'm not going out sorry. Like, I want to, go out on as high of a note as I can. And I think Nebraska, that Iowa game in March, I think they're going to have 6 guys walking on senior day, 2 60-year guys, a bunch of 5th-year guys, and, guys that came in out of the portal. And it's just like those guys, like, if you want to talk about legacy and leaving some of the things that have been talked about from some guys on this team, like they clearly had a come to Jesus of sorts. I mean, they were definitely doing some soul searching before that Illinois game, and rightfully so with how things had looked. And Fred Hoiberg said it, and it reminded me. I watched way too much like SpongeBob as a kid, but there's like the scene where he's like sitting in the diner and he's like, "I lost something once, my identity," and that's what Fred Hoiberg sounded like. Before that Illinois game, like, we lost our identity, like we need to try to get it back, and that's like what I said earlier. They've gotten back to the recipe that had them winning games, and that's clearly their recipe for success. But back to what you said about the portal, like, I've had people in coaching tell me that, like, rosters around the country are older than they've ever been, and some people will tell you that college basketball aesthetically has never looked worse, which is like quite the conundrum of, like, these guys have been playing for so long, like, why is this so hard to watch? But it's case by case, and you got to mesh your personalities, and you got to you hear all about team chemistry and all that, but at the end of the day, like, you don't have to be best friends with the guys on your team. You don't have to go get dinner with them. You don't have to go out with them. But when you put the jersey on, you've got a common goal, and that's to win games. And I think it's kind of the point this Nebraska team may be at, like, down the stretch. Like, we're not here to fuck around, we're here to win.
Well, and you talk about personalities a little bit, and during that losing stretch, Fred was trying everything with the lineup and everything else. Do you think he's kind of settled in on this lineup where Sammy Hoiberg is going to be out there in the starting lineup to be your spark plug, and then you've got Bryce pretty much running point in a way? And, like, do you think he's kind of found it? I know that Bearkay got hurt, and that's going to maybe throw a wrench in things for Thursday. But like, do you think he's kind of figured out the guys that are totally bought in, that are just ready to go, and he's just going to, I guess, piece in the guys that need to play when they have to play, like Mia and Ulyss? And I won't even bring up the Rutgers transfer.
Gavin.
Yeah, Gavin.
GG.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way, right? And, like, look at the group that started yesterday. Obviously Bearkay gets hurt, but they go small ball against Ohio State, and it's Raleigh, Sam, Bryce, Juwan, Bearkay. Sam's an energy guy, like, more than anything. And I know there's all the, speaking of cliches, like, here's the small, scrappy white guy who happens to be the coach's son.
Oh, you said no, you're supposed to save the white for the last.
Yeah, first in, last
Gym
out.
rat, scrappy.
Coach on the floor.
Coach's
lunch
sneaky
pail guy.
sneaky
First one in,
athletic.
last one out.
Clue guy.
Yeah.
All of them.
And then you just sneak in, like,
No,
just real quick. But I'm sorry, go on.
No, I gotta choose my wordsmithing better. But he's an energy guy, and that's a theme.
100%.
And that's a theme with this team, is like their energy there has to be energy there, and that's whether they're playing at home or playing on the road. Like, they gotta be the team that throws the first punch, and you gotta have, like, energy to do that. And getting off to good starts has been so important. And, like, when you have Sam out there, like, he's an energy guy. Bryce and Juwan, like, they're your old heads, like, for lack of a better word. Like, it's 2 60-year guys who, like, that doesn't get much more. Like, they're the old heads. Like, they're the straws that stir the drink for this team. And then, like, Bearkay, like, you can see how animated he gets when he's hitting threes, or he gets an and one. Like, he gets animated, he gets into it. I think Morgan is an energy guy. It looking like Kenny Powers helps him out too. Like, he's gonna be, he's gonna be an energy guy when he's out there. It's just, I think, like you said, Fred had been playing, he'd been throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck. And I think it just starts with, they've They need to get off to good starts. And, when you look at the majority of these lineups, I know they keep changing them, but a consistent theme that I see is like they got to have like energy guys out there to start, like to get off on the right foot in these games.
Well, and that's Juwan too.
Oh, yeah.
You need, hey, Juwan, when you shoot a three, it's not what you do best, first of all. And like, it's easy for me to say that's not your role because you're just not good at shooting threes. But
And he hit a clutch one yesterday.
He did. And
Yes.
look, from time to time, God will shine his light. Thank you, Lord. Fucking blind squirrel nut, whatever. But like, God, listen, God cares about a basketball game, okay? There's so much other shit going on. But it's like, for Juwan, energy guy, go to the freaking rim. Shooting a three, even though you're open, that's not you giving me your best thing. I need you to go to the rim and be the aggressor, because he's like the ultimate. Like, you're gonna look at the box score, and most of the time it's not great. Like yesterday was pretty good.
This winning streak, it's been really good. Like, he's been 15 to 20 points. It feels like every game that we've won in the last 4 games.
And how is he getting most of those points?
Inside,
By
absolutely
getting in there. And we're talking about energy. Those 6 games were like, okay, Bryce has been like abducted by aliens. This is not him, right? Like, this is the Body Snatchers movie, right? Where the dude, he's taken over by an alien. It's not him.
Are you talking about Space Jam?
No.
Oh.
Invasion of the Body
That
Snatchers.
also happens
Jesus.
in Space Jam.
Sure. You know what I mean?
Or like Mike, he's wearing the wrong shoes that day or something, or what?
Right. Bryce had the wrong shoes on for 6 games. And like, you watch this offense too. Why does it seem like they're running more things?
They're running plays now. It's not just
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, have you noticed that?
No,
They just seem more organized.
I've said that. It seems like they're running more actions. I mean, even like think about forget what game it was. Oh, it might have been Illinois, like late game Illinois, where they ran that same like fake screen and
dunk.
It's like it was like, did Bryce Williams just learn how to slip a screen like in his 6th year of college basketball? Like, I don't think so. Like, I think he knows how to do that, but it's like, where has that been? And they ran similar action in to late game and the Oregon game and yesterday, and it does feel like there's a lot less like dribble quests, like where guys are just out on the perimeter, like looking for something to happen or something to develop.
Well, that was yesterday. Was like 10 minutes left in the second half, and they're in the bonus, and they're still chilling around the perimeter. Like nobody wanted to drive. Mike and I are sitting up in the 300s. And we're like, drive the ball. You guys are in the bonus. Just put the ice on it already.
Yeah, and like Ohio State, they're like bottom. I think they allowed one. They're like bottom 30 and like free throw attempts like given up. So like they foul a ton. So like that was definitely like on the scouting report. Like, these dudes foul. Like, if you want to put your head down, like you can go get to the free throw line. And I mean, they still went 18 to 21 from the free throw line.
Right,
but
it's a good day.
I mean, it definitely I definitely feel like because that's been a constant thing that I've heard these last couple of years. Like, we hear all the time about Fred Hoiberg, offensive wizard, all the offensive guru, like then there's late game situations like when they played Maryland the first time, where it just wound up in a pretty tough shot at the end. And it's like, where is that? But I mean, I think I think part of like what I alluded to with soul searching and I've heard all sorts of what it was. I've called it basketball purgatory for 6 games. I mean, there's been all sorts of stuff, but credit is obviously due to Fred Hoiberg for obviously figuring a few things out and getting the ship righted. But maybe he just thought, maybe I should get in my bag a little bit, and I need to I need to draw some stuff up that I know will work, and it's looked pretty damn good in these last 4.
So my question, we talk about Fred Hoiberg, an offensive guru. I mean, obviously we're all going to talk about Iowa State. When you come to the Big Ten, and I know this is not Hoiberg's first year, he's been here for a number of years. Do you think maybe some of what he was able to achieve at Iowa State is a little bit harder to do in a very physical conference like the Big Ten?
Yeah.
The Big Ten is certainly the most physical basketball conference that's out there right now. The SEC looks great. let's not deny that. But I think that the Big Ten is very, very physical. Does that limit what Hoiberg is able to?
Yeah, I mean, even just think about when Nebraska first hired Fred Hoiberg and what people thought the product was going to look like.
Fast.
Fast. Pace, space, threes, all of that, and obviously last season the Casey show and everything that came along with that. But I mean, for the last 3 seasons, and the 3 most successful of his tenure by far, it's been built on defense and that grimy, tough, beat you up, kind of, it's not, I mean, not full on, it's not like, I mean, I know
90s basketball.
Yeah, I know they're,
Billy and Beer, baby.
Not 90s, NBA. If you are a fan of the 90s NBA, when Nebraska plays Michigan 2 weeks from tonight, that could look eerily similar, just with a bunch of big ass bodies flying into each other, but that's for later. But it's no, I mean, what you said, I mean, it's kind of I don't want to make this comparison. I'm not saying, I mean, it's like football with Frost, right? Fast, it's gonna be we're gonna be playing basketball on grass. We're gonna the Big Ten's gonna adjust to us, all that. I mean, it's it felt eerily similar for those first couple of years of can you replicate the Big 12 and the Big 10? Probably not. And that's why that's part of what they needed to adjust, and they've definitely more acclimated to the Big 10 style, and I think they still could build rosters better to fit the Big 10, and that's a product. I mean, there's plenty. I don't want to keep you guys here until the sun comes up tomorrow talking about it, but I mean it's pretty clear that there's we gotta assimilate to our surroundings, and we're gonna have to play some Big 10 basketball, but they've found a way to do it successfully.
You know what the difference between Fred Hoiberg and former head coach Scott? The difference between the two is that Fred, when he hit that crossroads, he had to make a decision if he was going to change philosophy and embrace the defensive mindset, where former head coach Scott did not. He doubled down. He was like, all right, no, this is going to work. We're going to do it. We're going to do it my way. And even when he hired Whipple and stuff, it didn't work. He eventually took the reins back and lost his job anyway. So I just feel I think part of just the success that Fred has had, having this defensive identity in the Big Ten, it's because he was able to adapt and he was okay with doing that.
Absolutely.
He wanted to make it work.
Now, mind you, Fred knows that he probably had a little bit more time than former head coach Scott. So,
yeah, our standards for Nebraska ball are basement, basically.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but it's sad. But
look at those first 3 seasons, though. Look at those first 3 seasons. I mean, there's basement, and then there's single-digit wins for for that many years in a row. And I mean, and it was there was pressure. There was pressure on Fred, and there was a lot. I mean, even midway through that, the Sam Griesel season, there was still some questions of is this working? Is this gonna work? And it's once again, that's a credit to him for wanting to willing to adjust, and and he said this openly. I mean, Nebraska means a lot to him. Nebraska means a lot to Fred Hoiberg, and when you hear his name in college basketball circles, you think Iowa State, you think he's the mayor of Ames and all that stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of Nebraska in his story, in his family tree, and it means a lot to him to be here and to coach here and to his family too. So I mean, he was willing to adapt to do what needed to be done to right the ship, and here we are in year 3 of what I call Fred Hoiberg 2.0, and the record over these 3 years compared to the first 3, I mean, it's night and day different.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm sorry. So we're at about 36 minutes almost. So we've got a question here. It just says, question, what games down the stretch here are must wins? And this is specifically for Jacob. Right. I mean, you can say, well, every game is a must win. you could say that, right? But as we were walking out of the arena yesterday, Mike and I were kind of talking, and the guy kind of chipped in and was like, I think we could lose against Maryland and be fine. What are the must-win games in order to excel in the season?
I mean, I think the one. I mean, I'm like I said, I only wanted to be a basketball coach. I think there's must-win games. There's can't-lose games. You can't lose at home to Minnesota. You cannot. And I know now that the winning streak at PBA is a thing of the past and all that, but I mean, protecting home court is paramount regardless. I mean, I think Maryland Thursday night is going to be it's going to be tough without Berkay. 2 weeks from tonight against Michigan, also going to be pretty tough. They play 2 7-foot tall guys at the same time, 2 7-foot tall guys who run pick and roll together, and they do it pretty flawlessly. That'll be an interesting matchup for Nebraska. But I mean, the must-win games. I mean, if you want to here's just some food for thought. If you want to talk yourself into some things, look at the rest of their games on the road. Not even the games at home. They, this time last year, the narrative with this team was, can they win on the road? Are they going to ever win a road game? Can they still make the NCAA tournament if they have 0 Big Ten road wins? What? And they got that out of the way 3 weeks earlier than they did last year. And the rest of the way in Big Ten play, I think they go to Northwestern in 6 days, who is now down their best player and their starting point guard for the rest of the season. Then they go to, I think they have a return game. Yeah, the return game at Ohio State's right before Senior Day. I don't know how to feel about that one. But
Penn State.
And then at Penn State. Those are their road games. Then Iowa on Senior Day. Must-win games, Minnesota. I think Penn State at Penn State. That. I mean, that arena, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. If you can fall asleep on the bench in that arena. If you're not careful, you can fall asleep. You can fall asleep on the bench. I've seen bigger crowds at Class C games in small town Nebraska than I saw
Hey,
on
Class C is good.
No, that is no slander to Class C. This is Penn State, Minnesota was on BTN a couple weeks ago. I'm there might not even be 1,000 people in that building. And then Ohio State, you saw them up close yesterday. They're tough. They're athletic. That whole thing. But I mean, I've had Ohio State alums, people who played for Ohio State, say, "Oh, we have the worst arena in the conference, by far." That is a chasm, where hype goes to die in Columbus, Ohio. So, I mean, I think they've got a fighting chance to snag a couple more road wins. And I think if you look at the analytics sites, every game except for that Ohio State game and the Iowa game on Senior Day, except for those two, the other 5 are considered 50-50 games, analytically. But to answer the question, if you haven't learned, I ramble, I yap. Sorry, but you can't lose to Minnesota. I don't think you can lose to Northwestern either. Down their best player, even if it's on the road. I don't think you can go on the road and lose to Northwestern and then Penn State. I think I'd throw those 3 in there because those are teams that are solidly beneath you in the standings. Those are teams that might have to hand the keys over at the end of the regular season and not get to go to Indianapolis. So I think you can't drop games to those 3.
So okay. I want to expand on that. We talk about the must wins, can't loses.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think could be the most pivotal game down the stretch for Nebraska?
See, I don't know. This is so wild. I still haven't wrapped my head around the fact that there were people wondering if they were even going to make the Big Ten tournament.
That was me.
That was us, including me too. And now it's what are they? 15 now? Was yesterday their 15th win or their 14th win?
15 and 8, I believe.
15 and 8, 7 to go. And I think
you guys talk about Nebraska?
Yes.
They are 17 and 8 right now.
17.
Yeah, they need 3 more.
They need 3 more.
If they get to 20, I think they make the tournament.
Yeah, and I think I think if they get to 19.
See, that's where I'm at now.
I think if they get to 19, but pivotal, I think, and this was the case before the Berkay injury. I think if they win on Thursday, then I don't want to say the rest of the season is gravy, but a 5th win over a ranked team, another quad 1. They got all these quad 1s. I'm not trying to talk nerdy to y'all about college basketball, but I don't think there are any swing games, but Maryland at home is huge. It's going to feel huge. Michigan at home is huge. And I think those resume wise are boosters. And then the Ohio State road game, I think it would be a resume booster too. But it's kind of I mean, I don't want to count chickens, and I don't want to say like the rest of the season's gravy. But I mean, their resume, the wins they have, like, I mean, I'm with you, man. Like, if they get to 19, I think they're in.
And so we think this Thursday might be the linchpin.
It would put a bow, right?
It would
Little
probably,
nice
like,
little bow on it.
It could almost seal it.
I mean, it wouldn't be a pelt on the wall. It'd be a turtle shell on the wall, but it would be a pretty, it'd be a pretty nice one to add. That nice, feather in the cap for sure.
Okay, but I got to reiterate to you guys, and look, you don't need me to tell you this. They just played Washington, last in the league. They went 8 for 8. That's all it takes, man.
Right.
Some shitty team to make all their fucking shots. Nebraska just needs to make theirs too.
Well, they only made one after that the rest of the game.
Yeah,
So they woke up from they weren't Texas A&M in Memphis,
right?
Where they were just living this fairy tale where they could make threes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
No, Washington woke up, and you'd hope that teams that Nebraska plays down the stretch that aren't good shooting teams will also just
That's
you would hope, right?
Texas A&M game, dude. So you had the fact that they couldn't freaking miss. That's one thing, and the other is that they're just more athletic anyway.
Way more athletic.
So they were making everything, and they were out jumping you. They were jumping through the gym.
Yeah.
They're getting rebounds. They're doing everything.
To this day, I have nightmares from the take that I had. We were at Alfred's on Beale.
Yeah.
When we did that show, and I had the stats in front of me. And I said, for any Power 5 team, Texas A&M is the worst from the arc.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing.
But you were right, though.
I was right. The stats were
sucked at
correct.
shooting.
I said, these guys cannot hit from the arc. That's really the only thing we need to be concerned about. And then I think there were like 6 minutes left in the first. And I looked at Mike and I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Casey was responding very well. Casey was shooting great.
I think about how that game. I mean, I was just talking about this yesterday. Like, think about how that game started. Because I mean, Casey started 3 for 3.
Yeah, my ears
came out like
my ears were bleeding.
I couldn't hear I couldn't hear myself think. Like, I was just like, I thought to myself, like, holy shit, like, this is happening. Like, this, obviously it's not how you start, clearly, as evidenced by the rest of that basketball game. But like, for like a moment in time, like, it felt like this is the fever dream. This is it. Like, we are here. And then it just like, that's the duality of sports, in an instant, a team that shot, I think they were under 30%. Can just like,
if I remember correctly, they were 28% from the arc.
Yep. I thought it was around there.
Spare me.
Yeah. No, we don't need to. We don't need to take a trip down maroon colored memory lane. I'll spare you that.
Trev courtside. Probably. I don't know. I didn't see him. Did he even go? I don't know.
No, he was there, I think, didn't he? Or
I
no,
don't think he did.
Did he go to the women's?
He was not there.
I don't think he went to either.
I hope he went to the women's.
Dork. An All-American linebacker. Dork.
Big, beautiful linebacker.
Plays against Florida State in the Orange Bowl with like no shoulder. Dork.
Hey, it's the same thing when we talk about our former head coach, Scott. I respect him as a player. As a player, he's Scott Frost.
I know.
As a player, he's Trev Alberts.
Anyone that works
as an AD, he's a dork.
Yeah, anyone that works at Texas A&M's a dork.
Dork.
Okay.
Automatic.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Hey, Connor, what's my favorite synonym for getting beat really badly? Come on.
I don't think I can say that on air.
You can say anything you fucking want.
Oh, I don't know.
Eagles put belt to ass on the Chiefs.
They did.
My God.
Again,
boring.
What did I say? Was it 2 weeks ago? What I talked about wasn't belt to ass. It was belt in ass. I mean, it was nasty.
Was that this one too?
Yeah, it was. And I had to have a whole argument today, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about the game, but about Xavier Worthy's 50-yard TD. First of all, wonderful pass from Mahomes. Great catch for Worthy. Sure. Garbage time. Yeah. You're under 2 minutes. Like, they're playing prevent.
Why are we even talk about that play?
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
It was belt to ass. And I think anybody that knows ball understood with a Chiefs rush defense that stood at 24th, they were going to have to stack the box against Saquon, which they did. But it allowed Jalen to throw the ball to 2 insanely good receivers, which, by the way, did you guys know for the first time in Super Bowl history, we saw an Alabama player score a touchdown?
Yeah, that's crazy.
First time ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because it didn't count that Jalen Hurts threw like 4 of them in the last Super Bowl he was in, but he went to Oklahoma and
Yeah,
Alabama.
he
Like,
graduated from
it's a
Oklahoma.
messy stat. I'm just saying, like
Him.
Jalen Hurts is a dog. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. Like he lost the first one, but he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. It was a blowout.
You want to talk about a really dumb stat?
Oh boy.
Any Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes has been a part of where Tom Brady has been in the building,
Yeah, I saw that stat.
he's 0-2. Tom Brady is a good luck charm for Americans. I'm sorry. I know you're a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I honestly,
Yeah.
it really wasn't about the Chiefs for me. I am a self-described Chiefs hater. I will take whatever hate I get for that. For me, it was mostly about, I think Saquon deserved a ring. And I was very happy to see that happen.
I guess he deserves it, but I don't know.
Real quick, I just have a correction to make. This is my fault. Nebraska is 16-8.
16.
One website says 17-8 right out of the rip.
Ooh.
And then we've got Justin in the chat saying 16-8. So I double checked, and Justin, you are correct. 16-8. Back to the Super Bowl.
Jacob, Chiefs fan?
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah, right?
I'm fine.
You okay?
Oh,
I mean,
I'm fine.
you got 2 the last 2 years.
No,
so
I mean,
he's okay.
I always
Yeah.
look dead behind the eyes. So like, if I look that way today, like it's not because of the football game. I mean, the Chiefs, I mean, I've said this openly. Like, I just, you know, it kind of felt. I mean, I'm not saying it felt like the end of anything, because as long as they got 15, like they'll be around.
Sure.
But these last couple of years had genuinely like not felt real to me. Like I'm a third gen, like the pictures of my grandmother on the pamphlets at her funeral were her at a Chiefs game like 3 years before I was born. Like, this isn't new to me. Like, I've got all sorts of stories about how I was excited to get a Matt Castle jersey for Christmas.
Brody Croyle, baby.
You know, Brody
Yeah.
Croyle and Tyler Thigpen, and just like that the way that this run has been, like, still really doesn't like feel real to me, because I never expected like the switch to flip the way it did when they drafted him, and it just, you know, it gave me a reason to get a full night's sleep. I went to bed early. I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
You
You were at peace with it.
I was.
well, so you lived through an era of Chiefs fandom that, like, I don't mean to sound crude, was shit.
Oh yeah.
You
yeah.
lived through that.
Yes.
So like to have the era and the run that the Chiefs have had, I mean, oh no, we only went to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah. Oh no. Like like, I'm not like trying to I don't woe is me, like my fandom. I don't get like too like over. I mean, I'm pretty even keel. Like, my best friend will try and tell me, he's like, I don't think you like sports anymore. Like, you used to be more into it. And I'm just like, I'm just older, dude. Like, I'm just older now. Like, it's, you know, like I was with my dad last night, and he made some great food. I ate good. It put me to bed, and it made me sleep easier. And I'm just, and we, you know, talked today, and like, we didn't even talk about the game. We just mentioned it. He's just like, well, you know what? Shit happens, and
So-
you know, they've been to 5. They've been to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been to 5. They've been to 5, and they're 3-2, and
5 in 6 years.
yeah, 5 and 6 years, and they're 3-2, and like, this is like, yeah, this is the same. I mean, this is the same team that like I was embarrassed to like say I was a fan of when I was a kid. So like I'm still enjoying the ride, even after you know, a tough night last night.
I have to ask, and this is a question for the table, and I hope that everyone had their own Super Bowl parties. But I want to ask you first.
Mhm.
You said your dad made a lot of great food. What is the most elite Super Bowl snack?
Super Bowl snack.
Yeah.
Or side. Or
Yeah, side, snack, whatever you want to call it.
See, like a really well done like buffalo chicken dip
Damn.
always gets me. Like,
Got me
that's like a
immediately.
really like that is my like I've got a friend and his wife who like that is like their go-to, and like, you know, I hope they serve that shit at my funeral.
Yeah.
Like, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it'll bring people together when I'm dead too. But it's a good, like, it's that good. And that's like the top of my list for, you know, big game, like snacker side.
See, we had this like dilemma at our Super Bowl party that you attended, Jared, yesterday.
Indeed.
So our friend Brooke, she makes a really good buffalo chicken dip, and she always makes it for like Super Bowls and events. Well, our friend Trevor's like, I'm going to make buffalo chicken dip. He said it before she did. So then everybody was just like, well, you can't make it. She's going to make it. And he's like, well, I already said it first.
Stolen valor.
Right.
You can't steal. You can't steal like buffalo chicken dip valor.
So
Like,
they both made it.
You can't have dueling buffalo chicken dips either.
Like, on air, you need to tell us whose was better.
Brooks by far. Okay. It's not even close.
No, dude. Okay,
Because Connor, or
go on. Go on.
What did I do?
Not Connor. Sorry. Because Trevor uses canned chicken,
Oh no.
which is like the biggest knock on his dip. And like, I'm not joking. Like, he makes it for every tailgate in Lincoln. Like, we go to Lincoln. This dude will make it at the tailgate. He'll bring cream cheese, a bunch of ranch, canned chicken, and we'll plug the crock pot in, and then like it's done in like 40 minutes. Like, that's what he does. But then he made it for a Super Bowl party where like you actually had time to make something for a crowd, and he did the same thing.
Hey, you know what's great? Costco rotisserie chickens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and you don't have to do any
Phenomenal way
work.
to do it. Yeah.
Listen, so this is what just made me pissed off, right? It's he makes it, okay? Like he claims it first, right?
Right.
He's the big buffalo chicken dip man,
Oh,
right?
I love this part. Yeah.
But like he like sends a text later saying, I put too much oil in it. I just couldn't. The pressure got to me. Like, bro, shut up. If you're gonna make the dip, make the fucking dip.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be the guy, if you're gonna be the asshole who says, "Oh, Brooke, yours sucks," blah blah blah. I don't know. He's trying to play a joke, whatever. No, it's too oily, dude. Remake it then.
Yeah.
You dope.
I mean, it's like remember the Lions season of Hard Knocks? Like this, I hate that this is like Jamal Williams. Like if you're gonna piss like a puppy, like get the fuck off the porch and let the big dogs eat.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If you're gonna if you're doing that, like if you're gonna like put it on the table and be like, I'm the buffalo chicken dip guy, and then you're gonna be like, oh, too much oil, canned chicken. Like what? Like come on, dude.
yeah.
Be about it then.
Like the lights are bright, brother. Like bring your A game. Like, come on, man. Like that's like I don't know.
Well, you know what happened too? Like, so it was his birthday yesterday, right? So he takes the task, the tall task of doing buffalo chicken dip over Brooke, who just does it every time, right?
Yeah.
And he starts this dip or whatever in a crock pot, and then goes to the casino and forgets about it.
Oh,
So then he's like, "Oh, well, it's overcooked. It's this and that." And I'm like, "How are you about to undermine Brooke and her buffalo chicken dip skills?" And then you go to the casino and forget about the dip, and then you're like, "Oh, sorry, it's not that good."
Yeah,
can't do it.
You can't do it.
No.
Oh,
I'm glad you used
Kyle.
the porch pissing analogy because that seriously like gets to like what I'm feeling.
yeah,
If you're gonna be big dog, fucking go. Like,
yeah, dude.
Kyle, what's your number one Super Bowl snack?
damn.
Oh man. So Mike made these yesterday. They're the little
Bacon wrapped Smokies.
bacon wrapped Smokies. Yeah, with the brown sugar
Yeah.
on top.
Oh yeah.
If those things come out at the party, like none of them are going home. Like that I'm going to make a meal out of those things throughout the game. So that's like my number one go-to. My mom's been making those for like my whole life. So that's just usually what I go for.
Okay, so admittedly, what I started with were supposed to be Bloody Mary skewers. They were meant for Bloody Marys. The pepperoni, salami, cheese, olive, pickle, pepper, all this stuff. And then when I found out nobody wanted Bloody Marys, they turned into charcuterie sticks, and I made like 50 of them. And those fuckers were gone. Like people, there was no meals eaten. People were just hammering charcuterie sticks. Greatest thing. I'm going to continue to do it every single year.
Yep, that's good.
Like besides buffalo chicken dip, because I feel like a lot of people would say that. Like, I'm just just give me cookies, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Cookie Monster.
Give me cookie. You know what I mean? Like, give me some oatmeal raisin cookies. You know what I mean?
And nobody
Okay.
brings
I
those.
love oatmeal raisin.
Nobody
Whoa.
brings those to Super Bowl.
Oatmeal raisin is criminally underrated.
I
I
love
stand
oatmeal
by
raisin
you.
cookies. Okay, are you an oatmeal raisin cookie?
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Kyle's the only one in the room that doesn't like oatmeal raisin cookies.
Hey, let's talk about Kyle's food stuff for a second. Why don't we?
The pickiest guy in the room
Jesus.
doesn't like oatmeal raisin cookies. Weird.
No, listen here. If I had to choose between raisins or chocolate, I'm usually picking chocolate.
Okay, so
Well,
hold
like,
on.
I'll say this: like, I like oatmeal raisin cookies, but is that really like the big game cookie? Like
No.
back to
No.
back
So
to
you're
like.
going white
yeah.
chocolate chip macadamia for the big game.
Mhm.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm going
No,
Jeff
you go
Bezos.
to Eileen's and you go get that like the sleeve of like the sugar cookies.
Yeah.
Like that shit's good. like or the snickerdoodles. Like you got to do that.
Was there a favorite or least favorite commercial yesterday out of the group? So for me, I really enjoyed the kid like boxing down the street. Like I liked that video because like that's what I do for work. Like that's kind of my gig.
You box for work? I didn't know that.
No. But I'll tell you this. The Baja Blast commercial
with seal,
with the seal and the guy's head.
That's okay. Hold on a second.
That was
Kyle,
stupid as fuck.
Kyle, really quick before anybody says anything, Kyle, do you know whose head was on that seal?
No, I have no idea.
That's Seal,
That's why
the musician.
Oh, I mean, look, it's been a while since he's done anything. It's been a long time since he's done anything.
Yeah.
Hey, if I was married to, is he still with Heidi Klum? If I was married to Heidi Klum, I wouldn't do shit either. Yeah, I'd keep to myself too. That's what I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in the cut and I'm just gonna lay low for a little while. Like that's what I'd be doing. Stay in the cut.
I think the only commercial that got any part of my attention, because normally when it goes to commercial, I'm not a big Super Bowl commercial guy.
Normally,
Motherfucker. I prefer backdoor.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
That's what we wanted.
That episode
There
was
it is.
like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they keep that clip on the board.
But you used the word normally.
I was talking about betting. I was talking about backdoor covers.
Yes, betting is a metaphor.
I'm learning a lot about you.
Anyway.
That's all. That's my biggest takeaway.
Hey,
I'm learning a lot about you.
You want him to sit here, maybe?
My therapist is going to work overtime.
Anyway, sorry, Connor.
So
We don't want to. We're not king shaming you, by the way.
Typically,
I already said earlier. I
Yeah.
don't shame.
typically when the game goes to commercial, I zone over and scroll Twitter.
Yeah, doom scroll. Yeah.
But the only commercial that caught my eye was I heard the words "puppy monkey baby." Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Several years ago, and I looked up and I was like, "Who the fuck brought this back?" Because I think was that a Doritos commercial originally? Then it ended up being Instacart, and I was like, "Oh, that was something." But other than that, like I really didn't. I watched maybe half of the halftime performance.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat. Of course, I think we were all listening to hear "Not Like Us."
Yeah.
To see if he actually did it.
I had no idea what was going on. So my wife had to explain it to me. So I had no idea.
So
he called Drake a pedophile on a national
right.
stage.
Yeah, I got it after the fact. And then like, of course, my phone's been listening to me. So now that's all I've seen on my feed is just like all the conspiracies and the memes and everything about it. But I had no idea what was going on.
My wife wasn't in the room when some of that was going on, and I think it was SZA. Is that her name?
SZA, yeah,
That's the one.
yeah.
So Carly is a big fan of Sexy Red, and SZA was wearing like all red last night. So I sounded like an 85-year-old man. Carly, I think Sexy Red's on the TV. And Carly's like, who? And I said, Sexy Red. She comes downstairs. She goes, no, that's SZA. I was like, oh.
I didn't know what SZA was either. I had to Google that too while we were at the Super Bowl party.
Yeah, they're yelling at me. Is that SZA?
You yelled at me because I said that's Serena Williams. You said that's not fucking Serena Williams. I said
well, no,
yes,
Talk
it
about
was.
two different women.
Two different songs, two different women.
I'm just saying, same performance.
I did find it funny that during
Yes.
Not Like Us, they bring Serena Williams out to crip walk.
Dude, yeah, that's the thing.
on
I'm
the
thinking,
stage. Drake's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, people might say ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
It was kind of weird for a second.
There was
Doctor,
all,
I don't know.
There was all the little like petty shit, and like I know I've got this non-threatening face, but I'm a hater. I'm a natural hater. Like I'm pretty petty. I mean, when he first walked out, he's got the lowercase a chain on.
A minor.
He's got the A minor chain on, and I'm just like, and the bit just being like, am I gonna do it? Haha! Like, and then just doing it the way he did it.
Yeah.
We've seen 2 crip walks in the last 3 years at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Right. Yeah.
Snoop did it, and then we got Serena doing it last night. Like that. I mean, the halftime shows. I mean, the people got what they wanted with Not Like Us. I have been on the record to say I'm kind of tired of hearing Not Like Us. It's kind of everywhere, and it's been overplayed. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the significance of that halftime show.
It's
And,
rap beef, man.
yeah, right. Well, Rap Beef winning Song of the Year at the Grammys. Like, is that more about like the state of music, or is that more about like? I mean, you could ask plenty of questions, but I mean that at halftime show, I was just like, I was kind of like, just get it over with. Like, do the damn song. Like, that's what the whole, like, that's why we're here.
It all built up to that.
Yes,
I am
absolutely.
starting a petition for the next Super Bowl, and I hope you would all sign that Nickelback is the artist.
I said that earlier.
Did you
before
really?
walked in. I said, I could say, oh, I didn't like the thing, and I'm instantly going to get ridiculed for it. And I'm like, I just really don't know much about Kendrick or the beef, so it didn't really relate to me, right?
It's not for you,
Right.
Mike.
Right, it's not for me. I found out today, right? It's not for me. But
You
what's
missed
for me?
the point.
Right,
Yeah.
let's play some fucking Nickelback or something, right?
I love Kendrick. I think like his most recent music has been amazing.
Mhm.
I want to
Yeah.
get back. Like, I want to do something like everybody. I don't know if you guys scroll Twitter. Actually, I know you do constantly,
Indeed.
especially you two.
Indeed.
There were a lot of tweets about how like this was the worst halftime show ever. I would disagree, but like if we're gonna do this and we want to make the worst halftime show ever, personally, I'm a big Nickelback fan, but I know how to make people hate it. Put Nickelback on the stage.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
I'm
I want to
down.
hear Rockstar like 15 times in a row.
Yeah.
That's the only part of the halftime show.
No.
Look,
Who's your halftime show?
Listen, I like Kendrick. Okay, I love Section 80. I love Good Kid, Mad City. I love all his.
We
Hey,
did
you can put the
I love all that
butterfly.
shit.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about last night. We got none of that.
Yeah,
We got none of none of the old. I want to call it old school because I was in like high school, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
but
2012.
none
we
of
didn't
the,
even get Mad City.
no, didn't get Money Trees. Didn't get any of like the
Money
old
Trees
like
would be sick.
like any of the old like classic Kendrick songs.
Well-
And I'm just that disappointed me.
Well, here's the thing, Jacob, is, listen, God damn it. Here we go. You want to talk about, hey, politics, whatever. I
We're
get
not.
it. I get it. He has subliminal messages, and the people are dressed up with the flag, and there's just fucking say what you're gonna say. I'm just too old.
Like,
for,
don't use the
I'm-
Super Bowl
like-
to just show your beef.
Like, I get it. I
handle
listen,
it this.
If anything, people have ridiculed me for being sympathetic to that cause. People have called me a snowflake, commie, whatever.
I do
It's
that
like-
every day.
Yes. I'm just at that edge, just like Kendrick. Just fucking say America's racist. Yeah, I know. Just say it. Everything's got to be so subliminal and Samuel M. Jackson. I'm Uncle Sam. Yeah, I know. Just say it. God, I don't know. I'm over it.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
that was, before you guys got here,
Halftime show.
Mike and I were like, how do we avoid the halftime show topic?
And then of course,
And
hello.
and here it is.
there it
Railroaded.
was.
Okay, last topic
Oh,
because
shit.
we're out of time. We're at a minute, or we're at an hour, 4 minutes. So the last topic here: who's got the scoop on food going out, food coming in to Nebraska menus? What's going on?
I heard Val's
So-
might be going away.
From what I have heard, Val's is most likely gone.
It's an error mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aramark. And so I'm going to just be very direct about my feelings about
Thank
this.
you. Please be direct.
We actually in our group chat today talked about Runza and Weimer. I don't know how to pronounce.
Fairberry hot dog.
Yeah. That
Weimer's
contract,
or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
that contract has 2 more years.
Mhm.
I understand where the university is coming from with like this is a very large revenue generator. To have Aramark come in. Danon's comments about chicken fingers. Have you guys ever once gone to a Husker game and given a shit about getting chicken fingers?
I don't know. I can't wait to see the guys walking up the aisles going chicken fingers.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Chicky
That's-
tendies.
Every time I walk into Memorial Stadium, I buy a Runza and a slice of Val's pizza. That's all I care about. And
That's all
so-
you've ever known.
Yeah, but
That's
so
the
like
thing.
I understand this will likely increase revenue for the university, but I think it's at the expense of the fans.
Mm.
And I think this is something that the fans necessarily didn't necessarily want, not necessarily didn't necessarily want this. And I think to put it as bluntly as I can, it's pissing on Husker tradition.
Okay, you want to hear something? Would you rather have a Val's pizza or have good players on your roster? Because I would rather have good players on my roster that usually ends up winning more games. So also, here's a hot take for everybody in the room. Val's isn't very good. And I don't care if they bring in a corporate chain because it's probably going to be better.
Well, so hold on.
The camera's on you right now. Yes. Okay.
Really quick. Can I address that part immediately?
It's not that good. Tell me right now, how often do you order Val's if you're not in Memorial Stadium?
Do you?
I'll
think,
wait.
Do you think that?
I'll wait, Kyle.
Do you think?
Okay, you want to wait?
Oh God, do you really
I'll
want
tell you right now. I order Val's at least once a month with the cinnamon sticks to my house.
Banger.
Okay.
Banger.
Oh, you're in the minority.
So you mentioned like we're giving up Val's to get better players. Do you think that the University of Nebraska was starving for money?
No, but
We're
they're going to
not.
make more money using Airmark that's going to have alcohol revenue and everything else that comes with it.
We were never in danger of not being able to afford the players we wanted. That was never a question. The concessions weren't a part of it.
They
I
are now, though.
I
in the pro model,
understand.
they are now.
I fully understand that Aramark, through what they're doing, is going to generate more revenue for the university. I don't think it was necessary. And I think if you asked most Husker fans, they would have wanted to keep, and we don't know what's going to happen in the runs on Wimmer, Weimer, whatever.
They might still
contract.
keep them anyway.
They might. They
Right.
might. And I would hope they do. But I don't think that the money was like really an issue.
You guys are taking away my Valentinos and you're keeping the troughs. Make it make sense.
The troughs
so
are
sick
a
of it.
staple. They're finally doing something smart.
Valentino's is a staple. I'm a
Valentino's
trough guy and I
overrated.
want Val's. to
Valentino's is overrated. Bring in Papa John's. Don't care.
Fuck Papa
Papa
John's.
John.
Don't care. Give me
Give
a
me some
corporate
garlic
thing.
sauce,
Give me
baby.
some
Better
Domino's.
ingredients in my ass.
Give me Pizza Hut. I don't care.
I want
Pizza.
a Cajun.
Oh,
You want my
no.
opinion too?
No.
Okay,
I
that's-
tailgate before football games, so I don't really need to get all the stuff in the stands. And most Husker fans that go to the games tailgate anyways.
But Mike, if you want better players, you need to spend your money in the stadium.
I could. I don't.
I'll say if they bring in Papa John's, I want a personal cage match with Papa John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna whoop his fucking ass. And if I win, Valentino's comes back.
Jared, what's your opinion on Val's Pizza?
Look, I'll admit I go to the stadium. I do get a Val's.
Yep.
You know, but it's like, oh shit. Last week it was $4 and now it's $6. Oh
Right.
shit. Come on, guys. But if getting rid of Val's gets me a blue chip left tackle, fine.
Down.
But is that
I know. You can have both. Why not both? I don't know. This is like the Mike Eckler thing. You only want Mike Eckler because you know who Mike Eckler is. You only want Val's because that's all you know. There's other things out there. Hey, Nebraska fans, you're so stuck in your traditions and all your. We got to move forward. And look, maybe we can move forward with Val's. Or
Listen,
maybe not. I don't know. But let's just live.
I just think there is a certain flavor. There's like a certain feeling when you eat a slice of Valentino's pizza that is different than what you get at the restaurant, that what you used to get at the old buffet on 108th and Q. There is just a certain way that it tastes, and
The cheese gets stuck to the fucking cardboard.
Yeah.
It is lukewarm as hell.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
not
yeah.
too hot.
Hey, what is
it's
your
not
opinion?
Too cold.
What's
It's
your opinion
lukewarm
on
as
it?
hell. See, like when I was going to games as a fan, I was always. This is why I was a fat kid. I was 2 slices of Val's and a popcorn. That was my my concession order, and that's why I'm down a bunch of weight in the last year. I used to be enormous. That's probably why. But that was a big. But Val's. I mean, I've openly said I'm like, there is one place on this planet where Val's taste good, and it's that stadium in a cardboard box. Like you said, the cheese is sticking to the box and it's lukewarm, and you're just like, something about this, it like feels like a warm hug from your grandma. Like, it's like, I'm home, I'm here. Like,
Are you gonna get heartburn if it goes away?
no. This was my first season covering football games, and that is like that they bring in Val's like after the game. They're like, here's a mountain of Valentinos, and it's just like after a while, I'm just like, this, I don't know if I ever need to eat this again. Like, this is all I've had, like, after these games for, I forget however many games I was at this year. I'm like, yeah. And I don't know if I ever need to like go out of my way to have Val's. So I'm not too torn up. I mean, I'm not too torn up about it, but I mean, Aramark, they do the concessions at Arrowhead and Kaufman in Kansas City, and it's solid. It's not like
great. Everybody's trying to be like Patrick Mahomes now, aren't they?
They need to bring
Or like Jalen Hurts.
like Kaufman, they do like the helmet nachos.
Mhm.
They need to bring Husker helmet nachos. I bet Husker fans will eat that shit.
And okay, hold on. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
I don't want the food in there to be like a touristy novelty. Like that's what I'm trying to get away. Like I want homegrown Valentino's pizza, Runzas. That is what
I hear you.
has always been here.
I hear you.
I don't want it to turn into like, you can go to like an NBA game or you can go to like a NHL game or something and you go buy a $20 beer and a $15 nachos and a helmet bowl or a hockey bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like a tourist destination.
It's all corporate.
Give me a cardboard box with delicious pizza in it. That's what I want.
I think that's what made it so special was that the concessions were like special to Nebraska.
Like the Rosenblatt Schwab Park debate where it's like the ballpark versus the stadium. I get that aspect, but people need to remember too, college football is not your yesterday's college football. This is professional football. And you have to adapt with the times. And if I'm getting helmet nachos and that's going to get me a left tackle, I'm getting fucking helmet nachos. I don't care about my Valentino's pizza. I really don't.
Hey, I'd sacrifice my mortgage to keep my Valentino's pizza.
Jesus.
I will also sacrifice Kyle's mortgage to keep my Valentino's pizza.
It's not that good.
Well, dude, it's the Mad Men episode where Don Draper's giving the presentation. Nostalgia. It's a powerful drug.
It is.
But it's delicate.
It's delicate. That's right. Makes people cry. Like Husker fans about to cry. Kyle's going to cry.
I'm going to
when
cry.
Val's goes away. Just be ready for it. Just be ready for it.
Well, the thing that sucks too, you go cover like a volleyball match or something at Nebraska, and usually like in the media room, they'll have a big old thing of Valentino's pizza, a salad, the cinnamon sticks. I'm just like, I look forward to that. Like I look forward to going and getting a slice of Valentino's pizza. Sometimes maybe 3. I enjoy it.
You will get that many.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You've seen it.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. I come walking up them stairs with 3 boxes of Valentino's. I love
hear
it.
you.
So
I like
instead of double fisting beers, you're double fisting Vals.
Yeah.
It's like
Triple fist,
you're like I'm here for a reason. Like why I'm here, and it's for Vals.
Yeah. And then supplement a hot dog at halftime.
Yeah, he's a glizzy gobbler too on top of it.
He's got 1 slice of Val's in each hand and then 1 tucked between the cheeks.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday, because this is how psychotic Kyle looks in sporting events, he walked in and they put a wristband and carded him for a Red Bull. They're like, this guy needs help. This guy needs help.
He's a savage.
He's a DJ. The guy puts the Red Bull down. He goes, Can I see your ID? And I went,
for a Red Bull?
That's crazy.
So I gave him my ID. He put the wristband on me, and then he looks at the Red Bull and goes, I don't know why I ID'd you. I go, I don't either.
I do.
Okay, well, look, I think we're starting to wrap up.
Yeah.
We talked about the halftime show. Good job, Mike.
That was you.
Jacob, I'm going to throw it over to you. I want you to just tell our listeners, the people that are watching live, where can they find you if you want them to find you?
Yeah, I don't know. Do I want people to find me? Yeah,
You don't have to say
I do. I kid because I care. You can follow me on social medias. I refuse to call it the letter, but I know that's proper on X,
Twitter.
I say Twitter.
It's always
Twitter. It's always Twitter. You can follow me on there at Jacob A. Bigelow on there. I wanted to be fancy and have my middle initial in there. I regret it now. I used to have a good Twitter at.
I think it rolls off the tongue pretty good.
What's the middle name?
Andrew.
Oh,
Same.
Yep. So, and then you can, you can find some of my written work over at HuskersIllustrated.com or in the Huskers Illustrated magazine every month. I do a solo podcast talking Nebraska basketball called The Stretch Big. I do a post-game show called After Nebraska Ball. We did a watch along for the Washington game where I was drinking red wine for every super chat we got. So we like to have a little bit little fun.
So you can invite us next time.
With Caleb and Jack.
Yeah.
So
hey, Jack, he gets after it.
Hey, we had Jack and we've had Caleb on here.
Yeah,
Caleb multiple times, Jack one time. So
yeah, no, it's a good crew. So yeah, I got the solo show, I got the post game show, I got written stuff, I got If you haven't learned it tonight, that I like to talk. I do talk quite a bit, but yeah, you can find me on there, and I really appreciate you guys having me on. This was fun, man.
Yeah.
I'd gladly come back sometime. So yeah, thanks again.
Hell yeah,
appreciate you we appreciate you taking time out of your busy night to come on and shoot the shit with us.
course. No, I mean,
you know?
yeah, I mean, you DM'd me like, get here early and we can just bullshit and pizza. I said you had me at bullshit. Like that's what I like. That's my specialty. So, anytime, y'all, anytime.
Appreciate it. Okay. Hey, nbnrpodcast.com. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube. What are we at, by the way, on YouTube?
Right now, I think we're at like 900 something subscribers, but there's 320 people watching right now.
Hey.
So if you just crawl over to YouTube, if you're not there already, and hit the subscribe button, it's totally free and it helps us tremendously. So we would appreciate it.
Yeah, look.
And at 1,000, Mike gets a face tat.
I'm not getting a face tat.
Corn cob right there. Corn cob.
Corn cob teardrops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fucking joke. You're joking. No.
He thinks he's not getting it. We'll hold him down if we have to.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Chloroform is cheap.
Jeez.
All right.
I learned so much about you today. That's the biggest thing. Like, my biggest takeaway. Like, this was a great time. I learned a lot about you. I learned plenty about you today.
Connor is
something.
Watch yourself.
I won't
when you're
chloroform
walking
you.
out, just watch your back.
Yeah.
Twitter. NBNR podcast. Look, Instagram, dude, we're on all that. TikTok,
Spotify.
TikTok, woo, TikTok's back. Never really went away. All right, sign off.
Yep.
I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Connor Cavalack.
Kyle Byers.
Jacob Bigelow.
As always, beat Maryland and GP.